Ever since I discovered that the Supreme Court in 2006 refused to hear Bill Walker's suit to get Congress to call for a convention for proposing amendments, as provided for in Article 5 of the Constitution, I have been troubled that, just like me, the great majority, and I mean 99% of the American people, are unaware that Congress is already starting to solidify its dictatorial hold, as compared to electoral hold, on the American government. The proof is their refusal to obey Article 5 of the Constitution to call for a convention to propose amendments. Oh, sure, I know that we can vote them out anytime we want to. But do we? If you run the numbers for the Senate, assuming that they continue their 90% re-election rate, and they will, by 2020, approximately 30 senators out of the 100 will be serving for 30 years or more. And 3 of them will, if they live that long, will be serving for over 60 years. Talk about Congress for life. And you know damn well it's not because they are doing such a sterling job. Congress's poll ratings are down among trial lawyers' poll ratings, in the pits. And yet their re-election rates are around 95%. How do you explain it? Maybe it's the "they're all bums, but my guy's okay" syndrome. The numbers for the House are heading in the same direction. And we call this democracy? I believe this sorry state of affairs happens because Americans have become so politically cynical, complacent, lazy, and so satisfied with the status quo that they're willing to re-elect whoever is their current incumbent over and over again, even if he's a crook. Well, they're all crooks, aren't they? Or because he's their party's guy. I vote the straight party ticket. Or because he hasn't done anything to upset me, and who knows what the challenger might do. What to do? Well, since Congress has already thrown down their own gauntlet by repeatedly refusing to obey Article 5 of the Constitution and call for a convention to propose amendments, it's up to we, the people, to pick up the challenge. I suggest that all the activist organizations in the country, left, right, third party, independent, whatever, pool their efforts to organize a 1 million citizen march to Washington, D.C., with the express purpose of surrounding and laying siege to the Capitol building, demanding that Congress call a convention for proposing amendments, that is called, as is called for in the Article 5 of the Constitution. We can call it an Article 5 convention. Properly organized, and if all amendment proposals are muted so that the main focus is on the idea of an Article 5 convention first, with amendment proposals to follow, the media will take up the issue, feeding on the speculation about what amendments are likely to emerge from the convention. That ought to do the trick. But knowing the sheer desperation of Congress to avoid such possible likely amendments as term limits, balanced budgets, and other electoral reforms, and a likelihood that an arrogant Congress will simply sit tight to see if they can ride out the storm, we should have a plan B to force Congress to act. I'll leave that to others more experienced in civil disobedience to formulate. My preference would be to ride them out on a rail. I'm Nelson Lee Walker of TenureCorrupts.com.